me. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. Help me. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. Oh, 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 I'm falling, so I'm taking my time on my ride. Oh, 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 I'm falling, so I'm taking my time. Taking my time on my ride. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 I'm falling, so I'm taking my time on my ride. Oh, 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 I'm falling, so I'm taking my time on my. I've been thinking too much. Help me. I've been thinking too much. Help me. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. Help me. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. I've been thinking too much. Help me.
Happy Tuesday. Today, let's kick us off looking at our calendar for the week. Fall is here this week. What else, Austin?
A lot. Here, I'll take this up. Okay.
Yes, let me just clarify something. As presenters, you do not have to wear your mask, just to be clear, following all protocols. Just to throw that in. But Ignite is still going on.
Yeah, so we had a great session yesterday with Peter. He does his unique session that talks about we talked about
CMAs.
The CMAs and pricing strategies. So everyone we had some good reception on that. But going into the rest of the week, just wanted to mention this today. We're doing a Mega Camp watch party every Tuesday afternoon. That's going to be hosted through just the Zoom. And if you want to come in person, we can have it available in the front office. But we're going to be showing different topics major topics that came out of Mega Camp, because we still have those recordings. And so we're showing those to you guys. For anyone who's missed those, we're going to talk about gamify your database today. And then going into tomorrow with Ignite, we have Alex Clark. He's going to be talking about working with sellers. And so he'll be here at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then Bradley's going to be talking about appreciation and inflation.
Wait, let's stop and talk about that for a sec. So Bradley, one of our very own agents, teaching his class for the second time, right, this month on appreciation and inflation. Do you want to tell us anything else about that, Bradley? Talk loud so everyone can hear you on the.
So it'll just be mostly about appreciation and inflation, but this time we're going to break down a little bit more on how you can, like, kind of some of the math and the ideas behind predicting the future appreciation and inflation of property and the different factors that are contributing to it, and taking a little bit of a look at the past to kind of see what the future is going to look like.
I love that. Could y'all hear on the phone? Thumbs up if you could hear. Okay.
No.
Okay. So he's gonna share a lot about appreciation and inflation and predicting the future values based on those things, and so you can have good conversations with your clients to make good investments and educate your clients. So that should be good. That's at 12 o'clock tomorrow. And then continuing on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wait, that was already Wednesday, right?
Yeah. No, you're good. And then also I'll be doing a talk about opportunities in Command tomorrow. So come on in. We'll talk about any questions you have about opportunities and dive more into that. And then that should not be there. I actually removed it. It's off the calendar. Must have been sitting around for a little bit. But let's go back.
And then on Friday we have an Ignite.
Yeah. And then Thursday we do have the workshops and a new agent mastermind with Justin Stoddard. He's going to be talking about mindset reset. And then
hold on, sorry. If we can get a head count of who wants to come to that class, he's going to provide lunch. So just let us know, please.
Great.
Excellent. And tell you, Tanya?
Myself or Brian.
Excellent.
And then I'll have Brian let me know.
And then on Friday, we do have our 7th session of Ignite. That's going to be with
taught by one of our brand new returning agents, Kay Grenning. So we are so happy to have her back. She actually taught Ignite when I went through Ignite. And we're so happy to have her back. She rejoined this week. Is she on? But she'll be teaching Ignite on Friday. So I'm happy to have her doing that.
And then Nikos will be doing session 8 of Ignite on Monday, make and receive offers. Oh, and then Kay will be doing working with buyers. So any information you need, or if you want to touch back into this, you can see it on the website or on the Google Calendar.
And just a reminder that anyone is welcome to join Ignite. It's not just for new agents. It's for anyone who wants to grow their business, right? And when it's taught by our different top agents every session, there's so many great things you can learn. So, there's even if you've been through a certain session already. So I was getting distracted by our live audience here. So there's so many great things you can learn, even if you've been through a class before. So please come to those. Don't feel like you have to be a new agent to come to those. So, all right. Okay, Josh, are you on from Academy?
I am.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for joining.
You bet. Thanks for
What
having
is
me.
going on in lending?
What's going on in lending? So lots of stuff. We're staying busy, which is great. Appreciate all the support from you guys and the agents here at the Market Center. Love meeting your new agents as they come in as well when you guys are giving them tours around and telling them about all the great support that they're going to get here from you guys. So I wanted to talk a little bit about DSCR loans briefly today. It stands for debt service coverage ratio lending. And these are non-QM products. So this isn't going to be your typical lending. It's for non-owner occupied investment purchases loans. So it's for your investment buyer, folks who want to purchase additional investment properties. No income, personal income is required for these loans. So there's no personal debt to income ratio requirement. So it's a no income doc loan. The debt service coverage ratio stands for, it's qualified based on the projected rental income from this property. So it's a minimum of 20% down. As long as the rent schedule from the appraiser is sufficient to cover your payment, then that's what you need for underwriting the income on this loan. No additional income is needed. FICOs are allowed down to 620, even lower in certain cases with a proper qualified borrower and reserves. I'm doing one right now. They're not obscenely priced as you would think for a low doc loan like this. So I'm doing one right now for a borrower who's buying a investment property in Arizona. Rates 4.375 on it. It's only a cost of 2 points on this purchase. There's a 3-year prepayment penalty tapered every year, so it drops by % each year for that prepayment penalty, or they can pay an additional point up front to get no prepayment penalty. But a 4.375, it's not poorly priced, so you can keep it for a couple of years without any problems. The appraisal is important, of course. We order those right away to make sure that we get a proper rent schedule and everything we need to cover the loan. But we can close these in a timely manner, just like a normal loan as well. If for some reason the rent schedule comes in a little shy of where the payment's going to be for covering the debt service, and the borrower just needs to show additional reserves that they have in order to make up for that shortfall. Gift funds. So usually gift funds on investment properties are not allowed. So with certain programs that we have for this type of lending, gift funds are allowed from a relative up to 70% loan to value, so 30% down. So it's a great option for this. And some of these programs allow for foreign nationals as well. So this is a great, awesome program. It's not, of course, going to be your typical and what the bulk of your your business is generally going to be, but as you have additional referrals, people coming to you that you may not have thought you could help in the past, this may help you close 1, 2, 3 more deals a year that you might not have otherwise had, and of course could lead to more. So if you have additional questions on that, you guys know where to find me. I'm in the office right now today for another couple hours. Reach out though via email, phone, anytime, and I'm happy to help. Any questions on that?
Thanks, Josh. It seems like a good product to help get some additional people into investment properties. And then maybe you just want to elaborate, just because some of our newer agents might not be aware of a typical scenario for an investment property, having to have a couple years worth of like proven rent, or, you know, maybe you want to touch upon that.
Sure. So
Typical standards would be.
yeah, so normally when you're buying a investment property, if you're doing your typical Fannie Freddie, you know, conventional lending product, you have to, you know, normally they want to see your own housing expense. So if you don't, you know, generally you want to see that you own your own primary residence. If you don't, then you need to show like a lease agreement for what you're, you know, for where you're renting your primary residence at currently. And so you need to show your income, assets, sort of all your normal stuff. You have to debt to income qualify, not only for the house that you're buying, but also your personal expenses and housing expenses as well. Whereas this type of loan, it doesn't require a debt to income ratio with that sort of common scenario. This one, it's all about the coverage on the home and the payment.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. Anyone have any questions on lending or anything going on? What's going on with rates for regular loans and jumbo loans?
Sure. So rates went up a little bit towards the end of last week. We had a little bit of a rebound yesterday as stocks dropped today. And stocks have sort of rebounded a little bit as well, but things are staying, you know, on the mortgage bond front, a little bit, you know, stabilized from sort of where they were yesterday. There's a lot of news. The Fed is meeting this week and should come out with their statement tomorrow. That could be market moving because they're going to talk about what they're doing with the tapering on how many mortgage bonds they're buying. They buy millions of dollars worth of mortgage bonds every day, week, so on and so forth. That helps to keep interest rates low as the bond market you know, continues to stay strong there. But as they start to taper off of that and pull back on it, then that could easily cause rates to start increasing. And of course, if they allow any, you know, additional inflation, that can help or not help, that could hurt mortgage rates as well. So still, you know, right now as we speak, really great. You're still going to be, you know, in your low threes for sort of your just sort of regular stuff with a little help, you know, maybe even lower. But definitely we anticipate seeing some gradual climbing in rates over the next you know, 6 months, year, depending on, you know, sort of the stance that the Fed continues to take. So we'll see a little bit more tomorrow, and hopefully they don't make any statements that make any drastic moves, but we'll see.
Thanks. Yeah, we would love an update on that next week just to kind of stay informed.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Josh.
Thank you, guys.
All right, just check the chat to make sure there's no questions. But next up, Kelly, our amazing principal broker, you're up. My guest seat today. Kelly's going to talk about all the OREF mid-year form changes.
Yes, so there's been some great changes on our documents, and we're going to go through maybe not every single one of them because they get kind of into the weeds on forms that we don't use all the time. I'm just going to jump up here so I can read the screen as we go through this. So I'll post this on Facebook so everybody can read it. But here's a list of all the changes that have made to the OREF forms. The one thing that's not going to be on this presentation, and I don't know why OREF didn't put it on here, but there's been a change to seller's property, I mean, to the agency disclosure documents, where in the middle of the form, they've added 2 spots where we are going to initial that the buyer has received the form, even though they signed the top saying they received it. Now there's actually a more specific spot where they initial, or sellers also too, where they've received the pamphlet. And the other is a spot where we get to select who we are representing. So it mirrors more the beginning of our purchase agreement on that document. So you've probably noticed the change already. You have to check who you're representing if you're representing a buyer or two buyers or the buyer and the seller, you're gonna actually represent that on the form now too. So I think it's a good change, but that's not on here for whatever reason, I don't know. So let's go down to the first change here. The first one here is a change to section 13, which is in the contingency section of our purchase agreement, and it addresses the seller's property disclosure statement. Under Oregon law, buyer has the right to revoke buyer's offer, the revocation period, unless this transaction is exempt or buyer has waived the revocation right. Buyer may exercise the revocation right only in writing and only within 5 business days after the sale agreement has been signed and accepted by the buyer and seller, and this is important, seller has delivered to buyer or buyer's agent a complete seller's property disclosure statement. However, buyer may exercise the revocation right anytime before receiving the seller's property disclosure statement, so long as buyer does not do so before closing. The provision supersedes any contrary terms to the seller's property disclosure statement. And down below here, and I'll let you guys, you can read this yourselves. I'm not going to bore you all the way through it if you want. But they went to agents and they went to some lawyers and they wanted to kind of clarify some of the ambiguity in the seller's property disclosure statement. That's basically what this says here. But I think it's a good change. They can't actually make changes to the form because the form is statutory, but they're able to make some changes on our purchase agreement that kind of explains the situation a little better. I think it's a great change. Does anybody have any questions about that straight away before we move on to the next change? All right, let's keep going then. Okay, actually we're gonna go up, down a little bit further. I'm gonna read the change first. Okay, there we go. So this is actually the best change I think they've added. So as you know, when we're doing a federal loan or any kind of federal loan, so that means a VA loan, an FHA loan, even I think a USDA loan probably qualifies as well. There's always an amendatory clause or an escape clause that follows along. Your lender provides it later. And basically it states that if the property doesn't appraise, the buyer doesn't have to purchase the property. And we kind of run into issues on that if we're doing an FHA or VA loan where the buyer is trying to use like a mortgage insurance or gap coverage, not mortgage insurance, appraisal insurance or gap coverage to make up the difference for a short appraisal. This kind of, I think, is a great change because it makes it, they've created a form, OREF 097, FHA, Federal VA mandatory clause. It basically mimics the wording that you've seen on those lender provided documents. And it's actually made a part of this agreement. And so when you choose FHA or VA, you're going to be required to use this form to go along with it. I think that should probably clear up some ambiguity between if you can use gap coverage along with an FHA or VA loan, which I don't think you can. Does anybody have questions about that change? Okay, we'll keep going. All right, so just some wording change here. They capitalized the word property, which is just a minor change. Let's keep going here. Historic, let's skip this historic property addendum 1 because no one really uses that. Okay, changes to the occupancy agreement, the seller's agreement to occupy after closing. I think this is a really great change here. So it used to say that on closing or before, on or before closing, buyer shall secure a policy of casualty insurance in the amount of $1 million. They've changed it to read this, and I think this is a great change as well. Before closing, buyer shall secure a policy of casualty insurance on the property for its full insurable value, and seller shall secure a renter's insurance policy listing buyers as an additional insured with liability coverage in an amount of, they changed the number from $1 million to 500,000. You should always put in the purchase price there, I believe. Providing proof at least 5 business days before closing. So this is a new requirement. This is going to change the way we do real estate a little bit because we use this form so often. But I think this is a great change because I think that insurance is really important. If there were anything going to happen to the property, I think everybody's going to want to have that insurance in place. So, questions on that?
That seems important because it could delay closing if
Absolutely.
you know,
Absolutely.
advise your clients
That's
appropriately.
astute. Pretty good.
Thanks.
You still got it. still got it.
Just a little.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's keep going.
So Kelly, backing up, so
Yeah.
if we're representing the buyer or the seller, 5 days before closing, we need to get our own done and ask the other party to make sure it's done.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we have to cover both sides of this.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. Let's go back down. No, go back down. The other way. Sorry. Up. Yeah, up means down, down means up. Okay. Just to clarify on that. Buyer as an additional insured with this amount of 500,000. I think both parties, to be safe, until there's some clarification on it. I think it's a little bit, I've used that word a couple times, ambiguous.
Yeah.
But I think it's ambiguous. So I think you should both represent a buyer or seller, provide that information. Okay, and then that's a new form right here, smoking CO alarm advisory. We don't typically use that in this office much because it's addressed in our multi-disclosure. One other change was the wire fraud. The wire fraud addendum we have been used has been changed to an electric funds transfer addendum. It's just been renamed. It has some different information on there. Again, that's not a required form for our office because we address it in our multi-disclosure. But that's the basic changes from OREF this mid-year. So I think there's some good ones. They think they're the changes they've been making lately, I think, have been really smart, and they're really talking to a lot of different people. You can just tell because the changes to me have been more thoughtful this last year or two. Yeah.
Clarifying.
Yeah.
Any questions on those from anyone here or online? You can pop them in the chat if you do. And you've been getting emails about the changes too. So if you want to reread any of the language, and you don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
The forms are already updated.
Your forms have already been updated, and I will post this in the Facebook page. And if you have a question about any individual change and how it affects your business, don't hesitate to pick up the phone.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Kelly. I love it. Okay, Dwight, you're my next guest. Guest seating. Okay. Wait, can you pop just the first part of that up? Or is it all one?
It should.
Okay. So,
Yeah, we're good.
okay. Can y'all see that?
Hold on, 1 sec.
Oh, wait. Let's see what- Don't mess it up. Us.
I know.
Oh, gosh.
There's an answer on here and I don't want to show it.
Yeah, you'd really blow it.
There
I
we go.
know.
Okay. we're good.
Okay. Okay. So now if you watched Mega Camp, you will be a little bit ahead here. So did anybody watch Mega Camp? I believe it was like day 2, Gary Keller. And they were talking about disruption in our industry. And he mentioned that there's one company that the real estate industry should really consider to watch out for as a disruptor, especially like our agents. What was that? Does anyone have any guesses? If you didn't watch, throw them in the chat, shout them out. Don't be shy.
Come on, Bradley.
You were there.
I'm racking my head right now.
I know.
You remember?
I know.
Yeah, Bradley, you were sitting next to me when Gary told us.
I guess Zillow, but I don't think it was.
Okay, right, Bradley guessed Zillow. Wrong, but.
You're just set up, Bradley.
I know, he did say it. That's
We needed a
the
big one.
obvious answer, right? No.
Vegas may have got Bradley.
Yeah.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
thinking about his winnings the night before.
Yeah, make a note. Vegas might not be a good location. Let's see what else. Oh, that's okay. Okay, what else? Let's do some more guesses in the chat. What else is, I mean, not to say that Zillow isn't necessarily a threat, but I want to talk about the one that Gary Keller was talking about that day. That's maybe not as obvious. Keep guessing.
How about Amazon?
Amazon, good guess. But no.
Not Amazon.
Okay, you guys are. gonna
Although
make
there's
me
been
call
a
people
lot of
out.
conversation about Amazon
Yeah.
buying a large real estate company,
Yeah.
right? Which gives them an entree into the entire real estate industry from front to back, and everything being available online. They provide everything that a homeowner would ever want
Yeah.
in the real estate industry.
Yeah, that's,
I think Amazon should do it, and I think it would help us a ton, because Did you hear about the Department of Justice, how they did a
Yeah.
probe?
Yeah.
Yeah, if Amazon was on our side, oh man, the way they treat their workers, we get to jail. No one will ever enter again.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so there was a guest of Amazon. Okay, on the chat, there's a guest of EXP, hotel industry, the Open Door and iBuyers. Those are good guesses, right? Like that's what I probably would have guessed, right? Like some of these iBuyers and, you know, sell your house, we'll give you a flat rate. Yeah.
Was it 1031 exchange?
No,
Another good guess. I like we're getting out of the box.
keep it coming.
Keep it going.
Lambs to the slaughter. Come on.
I love the guesses. Okay, keep going. Okay.
I would never have guessed it when I heard it.
I would
was
have
like,
never
wait,
guessed
what?
either. And so we're gonna show you and then we're gonna talk about it. Okay.
That's how much of an innovator Gary is.
It
Yes.
totally is, right? I mean, Gary Keller is always thinking 3 steps ahead, 6 steps ahead, which is so cool for our industry. And he's always thinking about how to protect the agents. You know, another thing he said at Mega Camp was that the agent is never going to be replaced. When it's a high dollar amount and a high emotion purchase or sale, the agent is never going to be replaced. And some of these like iBuyer companies that are trying to replace the agents are never going to be successful. Totally side note, back on track. Let's see who the biggest threat is, Austin. That was a nice graphic. Home Advisor, powered by Angie. So Home Advisor bought Angie's List. So now they're Home Advisor, powered by Angie. And why do you think that they might be the biggest threat?
Yeah, let's talk about your ideas. Why Home Advisor would be the biggest threat to our industry? Bradley.
Is it maybe because they're a market mover and they control a lot of like people's kind of direction on where they go in their business?
That's part of it. Yeah, that is
So,
part of it.
You want to restate it so
Yeah.
everybody hears?
Me?
Oh, yes.
Or-
Bradley said because they're a market mover and they control so much of the market of who the home buyers are in contact with, which is a big part of it. And wait, so if anyone doesn't know, I guess we should say this. Home Advisor, powered by Angie and Angie's List, what it is an online database where homeowners can go search for different contractors and different, like, you know, lawn maintenance, roofers, all different kinds of contractors for their home, and be provided with local vendors. So go to the next slide.
Well, hey,
Oh, yeah.
Dwight, but is that something you do for your clients?
Well, we think we do, but not like Home Advisor,
Okay.
because if you think about the process,
Yeah.
someone would go to Home Advisor. Well, now, if you think about Angie's List, if you wanted to get your windows cleaned, you might go to Angie's List. If you wanted to get your furnace serviced, or you needed a landscaper, or you had a gutter overflowing, right? You could go to Angie's List and you would find highly recommended contractors that you could use that would be better than just searching blind in a directory, right?
Yeah.
Now, Home Advisor owns that entire process.
Wow.
And so now if you enroll in Home Advisor, how do you enroll in Home Advisor? What's the first thing that happens? You give them your email,
Mhm.
right? So now they have your email as a homeowner
Yeah.
for the entire cycle that you own the home.
Mhm.
And if you think about the benefits of Angie's List, you think it will be limited to just contractors going forward. How about insurance? How about life insurance? How about anything in your life you need triggered by the homeowner?
Mhm. Okay, go to the next slide. This is good stuff. Okay, so the kind of the life cycle of our clients, right? We talk about this a lot as far as like lead generation, right? But let's just talk about it overall. So you know, your clients are searching for a home, they buy a home, then they own the home, right? There was some controversy over what the current time frame is, right? We just Googled it this morning. For 2021, it's actually gone up a little bit. It's right around 10 years right now. It'll start to go down, you know, it always fluctuates a little bit. And then you sell your home, right? So we do a great job of talking with our clients during the search phase, during the buy phase, during the sell phase. But what about the own phase? Some of us do an okay job during the own phase. some of us do a good job with some of our clients, but what are you doing throughout that whole time period, right? And we talk about it a lot from like a lead generation perspective, but now we're kind of re-looking at it, and Keller Williams is re-looking at it from a business perspective of that is the huge advantage that like Home Advisor has. They're in touch with our clients for a much longer time period than we are. So if they were to capitalize on that and partner with the real estate company or add real estate agents or figure out how to do that in some capacity, they have that much longer relationship, right? So that's Gary Keller kind of thinking ahead. So as a company and as agents, it's really important to think of like, what are we doing to stay in touch with our clients during that phase? And, Dwight hit on it, talking about like, some Keller Williams are adding, the Keller Mortgage is adding the title into the office, adding the property management components, adding, different components, but being that resource for all the home things can be a great resource. So how many of you already have clients that kind of go to you for like, I need a roofer, who should I use? I need siding, who should I use? I know Dwight does.
Yeah.
Well, and we talked about this in the early part of the year because I made the point that I had been called like 5 times in 3 weeks by my client base asking me for the names of specialists. At the time, it was estate attorneys, which I think was triggered by, wills and trusts, right? Which was triggered by COVID. So all of a sudden people were thinking, okay, what happens if I get COVID and I don't survive this? Do I have a will? Have I done my estate planning, et cetera? So I had a lot of questions about that. I had questions about attorneys, one about divorce attorneys. So I realized, wow, I'm getting a lot of calls from my client base right now, and they're calling me, right? Why are they calling me? This is where we want to be as realtors, is the source for solutions for housing before Instagram, or excuse me, before Home Advisor.
Right. Our clients thinking, oh, my agent, they're everything, house, home, everything. So we have talked a lot about this. Because of this, Dwight has negotiated an amazing discount for all of our agents and their clients at Contract Furnishings Mart. And we talked a little bit about this last week because next week, instead of our team meeting, there will be no Zoom. We are doing a private showroom tour there. Coffee and donuts will be provided. It's less than 2 miles from the office. It's like right down the road on 72nd. And what this is it's a showroom where the contractors shop for hardwoods, vinyl flooring, carpet, tile, countertops, knobs, cabinets, like all of everything home. And it's everything, right? They'll order samples for you. And typically you can't even really buy stuff there unless you're a contractor. So Dwight has made it so not only can us and our clients access that that resource, but they're going to get extra discounts for being your client. So it's a huge advantage to your clients to be partnered with you. So not only can you recommend a great resource, and then they also can connect you with the installers as well. So they can get a great discount on the actual what do you call it? Like stuff, right? And then surfaces, right? And then, but the labor, also they'll help connect you with. So we hope you guys can all come. There's going to be a lot of great info. They're going to tell us more details of that plan, everything you need to know. And we'll kind of walk through the showroom. Though, we get a lot of questions from agents of like, oh, I wish I knew more about different types of flooring and this and that. Well, after we go there, you can just go there and check stuff out. Like, I know I shopped for tile there myself because my tile guy told me to go there, but he had to go buy it. Like, I had to tell him and he had to buy it because I couldn't do it. But they were so helpful, and they ordered me a ton of samples. And it was a really good experience. So customer service wise, they're great. And they're so close to our office that it makes a lot of sense. So we hope that you will all join us there next Tuesday. And Marcella, you used them recently, right? With a discount? Because Dwight already has a good discount. He's been connected for a while.
Yeah, I always use Dwight's discount. I've recommended it to clients. I've used it for myself. And recently my in-laws actually have been, I was getting ready to put their home on the market, and they kind of did like a big remodel on their home, and they had a guy doing it. And he got them a price for carpet, and they shared it with me. And I said, well, let me check what price we would get using Dwight's account, because I feel like he'd get a better discount. And the discount was like night and day different. I mean, I can't even remember what it was. It's been a couple of months now, but it was a big enough difference that they went with Dwight's, obviously. And then we also ended up using some of Dwight's contractors. This specifically was for carpet, and we had Dwight's contractors go out and remeasure the area that they were carpeting. And he came back like 30 square yards less than the contractor they had doing their remodel. So it ended up saving them money, using our contractors that we recommended, and our discount saved them more money than their actual contractor could have.
That's awesome, Marcella. Thank you for sharing that. And, it's such a great way, like when you're even just meeting with your, clients, like way before they're thinking about listing, so many clients ask, like, well, how should I consider updating those cabinets? Should I consider replacing the counters? This just gives a little bit more flexibility by making things more affordable. Do you want to add anything to that on your experience?
Well, so let's back up about 20 years or longer. My builders that I worked with were buying their materials at Contractors Furnishing Smart. And when I had a pre-sale or I had a sale of a home under construction, then the builders would send them to Contractors Furnishing Smart, and they would meet with someone there, and then they would go through and pick their surfaces, whatever choices they had. And so I decided that I should have an account there for my own clients that aren't builders' clients. Why couldn't I have my own account? And so I arranged for an account. It's probably been 20 years. And what we do as a part of business is I offer for my clients, whoever they are, friends, clients, whoever it is, to go into Contractors Furnishing Smart and use my name. And then they're paired with one of the showroom specialists, and they pick whatever they want. And then at the end of the process, they're given my discount, which is about 35% off the showroom prices. And so when my clients walk in to do that, and it could be just someone that I've sold a home to 5 years ago that calls and said, hey, where would you go for carpet, for hardware for your cabinets, for LVT, for vinyl, for Formica, granite, quartz. They have all surfaces. That's their specialty, is surfaces. And so when they use my discount, it usually adds up to at least $1,000. And sometimes it's $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 and $5,000. And so what we negotiated for you is the same thing. They've told me that you're going to get my discount, which is the builder discount. It's the best price the builders get. So if you think about someone like Renaissance Homes or some of the other homes that use them, your clients are going to get the same pricing they do. And the process is that they would go into any Contractors Furnishing Smart. You'll get more details on how this works next Tuesday, but they would go into any Contractors Furnishing Smart, and they would say that they're a client of Bradley King's at Keller Williams, and they will look up Keller Williams Portland Premier, and then they will compute the discount. And so in the showroom, they have posted prices, but then once they make their selection, they'll get the real price, the discounted price. And so, I saw the value in this many, many years ago because, I feel like this is one of my strongest efforts is to get my listings in as good a condition as I can convince the people to get the listings into. And it's always been because they sell for more money and they sell sooner, right? If you can replace the surfaces and update things in the house and eliminate objections, then they'll sell sooner and they'll sell for more money. Imagine if you've been in the business long enough, there are still homes with yellow Formica, orange carpet. Marcella's house that she's referring to, that carpet was whatever, I don't know, was it purple or something, some really, really odd color, green or something. And we still see that, right? And the buyers don't want to deal with that stuff. So this way, your owners are going to be more excited about spending the money to get their home in top condition, which means for you, I always looked at it this way. If I could sell 4 homes and average 60 days, and my competitor is selling 4 homes and averaging 120 days, I can make twice the money in the same amount of time, right? That's the math. How do I do that? Well, pricing them correctly is the most important strategy, but also improving their condition. So if you have your arsenal of landscapers, and now we have this to work with as a company, roofers, all the other contractors, to eliminate the objections before you list a home, you're going to sell it faster for more money. And then guess what? You move on to the next one. And at the end of a year, you make more money and your clients are happier. So when they talk to you about how you're justifying your commission, and they could get someone at Redfin to do it for less, or that someone else is throwing out 4 1/4, and you're arguing for 5 or 6 or 5 1/2 or whatever the number is, this is how you add value to your service. And so think about how you can push this out to your client base, because remember, with COVID, if you look at companies like Lowe's and Home Depot, their stock surged massively. Guess why? People were at home, and they decided if they're going to be more at home, they want to take care of home projects and spend more time getting their home looking better. And so now we're going to be in the middle of that. So this is one more way for us to maintain a relationship with our clients during that home ownership period. I use it mostly for putting homes on the market. That's what I do it mostly for. But for us as a company, you can use it throughout the home ownership cycle. How many people that you sell a home to say, I don't really like this carpet, but we're buying the home. And then they want to recarpet it afterwards. And what you can do for them is you can call a carpet installer, have it measured, and then let them go into contractors furnishing, pick the carpet they want. And it's absolutely seamless. It's absolutely seamless. It doesn't take any of your time. They are that good. So when they go into a showroom, there'll be someone there that can tell them, that can guide them to what they're looking for, that can guide them to their selections, that will go to a computer, whether they're in Bend or Beaverton. They'll go to a computer, they'll see the Keller Williams Portland Premier account, and they will apply our discount, which is about 35%. And it ends up better than that, because typically when I go in to help my clients, I ask what's on sale. And because if I'm trying to sell their home or it's a rental home, I start with who is giving a discount on their carpet, because that they're like anyone else. They have periods in their business cycle where they want to get rid of inventory. And so you might walk in and they're offering a carpet at 20% off for that month. And it just happens to be the frise that you're looking for that house that you're going to sell. And so now you get 30% off and 20% off, and the numbers get even, the savings get even bigger. So we have a home listed, and they had no idea that they could recarpet their whole upstairs for the price that we were able to do it. They had no idea. They went in, they picked the carpet with representative that I like over at the one on 72nd, which is where we're going. And he identified, I told him, I think you need a frise. He showed them frises. They picked one. They got the price. We did the math because my carpet installers measured their house and said, here's how many yards you need. And they're like, are you kidding? We can do it for that price. Of course, we're going to do it. They want their home to look better. They understand that if it looks better, it will sell for more money. And so to that end, I've been the beneficiary of that process for at least 20 years. And so now we are the first real estate company that they're willing to do this with. And so it's a huge deal. And I just really want you to start using it. You will see magic happens when people walk in to that candy store and they realize they can get things at better prices than what they ever imagined they would.
It is a candy store.
It is a candy
It's
store.
a candy store without a discount, right?
Yeah.
And then you get a discount that's like, oh,
Great.
Kelly,
Couple questions. One, did you say donuts?
yes,
You said donuts, okay.
donuts and coffee,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay. No, but, so for me, I always have a hard time suggesting to my clients to change out the carpet or to change the countertops or whatever it is. Because I'm always having a difficult time quantitating if they're gonna be able to recoup that money paying retail for the materials and the work. I think it's a huge advantage, not having to pay retail for it. It's a huge advantage. It's just money straight in their pocket on both sides. So they're saving money doing it and they get to recoup it when they sell. I mean, I think it's awesome. That's a huge one.
Yeah, and so if you get into these conversations, which I've been in, where they say, like, how many times do we get calls from people that say, I'm thinking about putting my home on the market and I'd like to have you come out and look at it to give me some ideas on what I need to do to sell it for more money, right?
Yeah.
That is like 90% of my phone calls,
For sure.
90%. And so that tells me, first of all, that they're willing to spend money on their house. And so as a part of that, I just walk through and say, here's how I prioritize it. We got a landscape, we got a bark dust, we got to do this, we got to do that. And they draw the line on where their funds will go. And certainly if you look at the data, the cosmetic things give you the highest level of return, right? The easy things, the paint, the carpet, refinishing the hardwood floors, bark dust, trimming, those give you the highest rate of return. And typically carpet is 2 to 1 in my experience. I would say it's at least 2 to 1. But the other side of it is, and for those of you that are on the call, if you've been around for a while, you have had a sale where somebody came in low and said, well, we're budgeting to replace the carpet or to replace the countertops because they're Formica, you know, which was popular 25 years ago. And so if you can say, here's what it's going to cost to do that, they might, my perspective is that they typically ask 2 to 3 times what I can get it done for. So they'll ask a seller, they'll say, well, you need to come down 20,000 to do the carpet and we can get it done for 8. And so I've had plenty of transactions where my owners did not have the money to do these things. And what I did was I called my contractors, came out, we measured whether it was for granite or LVT or vinyl or carpet or whatever. I would have my contractors measure for it, and then I would go pick a sample. And one thing that CFM has always been generous about is they let you take the samples, right? They let you take them home. And I leave them in my listings for 2 and 3 months before I bring them back. They never give me grief about it because they just call the distributor and get more for free. And so, I would typically take like a ream of carpet colors, like friezes are kind of hot right now. That's the one we generally go with, that has the price point that I think works for that value range, and leave it in the house and say, we can get this home completely recarpeted with one of these colors for this price. And that way, when a buyer comes in, they're not going to ask for a massive discount if you've basically dialed the process down to the point where they just have to pick the color. And if I already have the contractors that have been at the house, I can get it done the day after closing, right? And then people move in a week later, 3 days later, whatever the job is.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
But you're playing chess.
I'm playing chess. Welcome, Peter. He would say this too. Look, we're business people, right? We have to have we're no different than Albertsons or Costco. We have to have the product that people want. And people don't want junk. They don't want things that have been abused, that are dirty, that people haven't had the time to clean. They want things that they can walk in and they'll pay for it, especially in low interest rate market. So if you want to sell more houses, put more time in up front to get the houses looking better.
Mhm.
And what will happen is once you sell and close a house in 30 days and the one down the street is still sitting because nothing has been done, you'll have that aha moment to say, look, I can make more sales in a year by just putting more energy in up front. And the people get excited when they see the discounts. Just like you get excited if you walked in and somebody said to you, hey, you can get 30% off on that if you buy it today. So it is a great process, and I would just encourage everyone here to start using it, to push it out at the end of the year. We're still in this COVID world, right? People are still working from home.
Mhm.
So this is a great way to build another tether to your clients that will not be disrupted by an iBuyer situation or Zillow when they're ready to sell.
This also seems like something that we could push out to our clients in that dead period where we're not in contact with them. Like I was thinking, this is something I'd send my clients like maybe 4 times a year, just a reminder, hey, they need a discount on, you're doing some remodeling, you need a discount, reach out to, give me a call, I can get you a good deal or whatever. And a lot of times they're doing, like, go back to the home, what's the name of that company? Angie's List thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like they're kind of what Gary thinks that advantage is because they're in contact with them and they can start seeing when they're showing selling signs. And so when your clients start maybe thinking about doing remodeling, they may be trying to fix up their house to get ready to bring it to market. If you get that information before somebody else does, that's a huge advantage to us. So
Mhm. Even if
Yeah.
it's 2 years out, but now,
Right.
if it's a
Yeah.
10-year period, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be, and if you work on that relationship up
Yeah.
front and they use you up front when they're selling,
sure.
then they remember you.
Yeah.
And yeah, it ties really well into that whole conversation of how else are you staying in touch with your clients during that
Totally.
own phase. So we're gonna continue to talk about that for the next,
Yeah.
upcoming,
Like, 'cause
forever, right?
like,
Forever now,
don't
because
we all
that's gonna
struggle
be a
with-
big thing, right?
right.
So we all kind of struggle to provide value when we're outside the bounds of the transaction or outside the bounds of the
Yeah.
search.
Right.
So this is a great way to provide value when you don't have anything else to bring, so.
Right, and the beauty of CFM is I think they have, I mean, I didn't realize, but I think they have 10 locations, right? So
Wow.
if you've got a client that is moving to Seattle, they have a store in Seattle.
Sweet.
Mhm.
And so if they're buying a home in Seattle, I mean, you can give them a referral on a realtor. Now you can give them a referral to get their house redone.
Yes.
And the beauty of this company is I identified some installers 30 years ago that I've been using, the same guys. And I would advise everyone in this company to find premium talent, just like you do with roofers, landscapers, and everything else. Identify premium talent so you are known as the expert in the home industry, whether it's an attorney, an insurance person, whatever it is. Contractors are the same. And the beauty of this company is they're aligned with the contractors that do all this work. So if you went in and you found your favorite, mine right now is Rob Van Horn, and I would say to him, hey, can you give me like 3 top granite or quartz installers? And he would say, yeah, here's my 3 that I really like that my customers have loved. That's as good as Angie's List, right? It's probably better because it's all face-to-face. And that is one of the side benefits that they can get. So if they bought a second home in Bend, if they're moving to Seattle, wherever it is in Portland, we can deal with it. We can provide more value. And remember, if you think about Home Advisor and somebody in your system is looking for a carpet installer and they've been in their home for 8 years and they're looking for someone to fix blown seals and someone to do roofing, with the AI, throw that name up to the top to say maybe somebody should reach out to these people because maybe they're thinking about getting their home on the market. Of course. And that's what we have to be.
Better than the AI.
Yeah, we have to be better than the AI.
Okay, a couple final questions and thoughts from the chat. People are saying, thank you, this is exciting. Phil asked about the iBuyer. And Keller Williams does have an iBuyer program. It's called Keller Offers. It's only available in certain states right now. Oregon is not one of them. But stay tuned as information comes out on that. We will continue to pass that along. But if you're checking out anything on KW Connect, you can check it out. It's KW Offers is what that's called. Sherry Baker says that she's used Contract Furnishing Smart before. They have great recommendations for installers. Beth says if we can't come, will the information be available? Yes, and we're getting some brochures from them. We're getting some printed so that we'll have for you to put in your listing packets or to give to your clients with, you know, all of their services and locations and things like that and what to do. And so that this will be like a really good ongoing relationship. And, you know, the 35% discount, I mean, that's crazy. Like I said before, I did tile a while back and my tile guy said, you know, oh, and I get 10% off the prices listed, you know, you just pay them and whatever. And it was real because I just paid them directly, but he got 10% off. And we're
Well,
talking
here's what you
about-
find. Here's what you find,
Yeah.
which if you dig deeper, what you'll find is the contractors that use CFM will announce to you that they get
Right, and then
10%
they
off.
take the rest.
And they get 35% off
Right.
and they make 15% on the carpet and the labor. That's what they do, which is why I went directly to Contractors Furnishings and said, I want a business account there, just like I did with Rada Paint, Sherwin-Williams, and I'm working on another contractor to get a relationship for our office. So hopefully we'll have news on that next week. But yeah, that's exactly what they do. And so then they make money on the product and on the installation.
Right.
Well, now we can go right through that. We go directly to the source and we can have it pre-measured, pick the contractor, here's the carpet, we're getting it at this price, just give us a price to install it. And that's what you did, right?
Yep,
How'd it work?
it was great. I brought samples home and laid them out on my floor so I could look at them at any kind of light, you know, any time of day to see which one I liked the best, and had the guy come out and measure, and he went and picked it up. I paid for it and he went over and picked it all up and brought it over and installed it. It was great.
Yeah, well, that's actually another benefit because
That's a lot, it's a lot.
yeah,
I wanna haul it.
it was pretty seamless, wasn't it?
Yes,
So you go in, you find what you want, they'll tell you right then and there what the cost is that you get. But if you're smart, you've already had it pre-measured, so you know what your quantities are and you can just calculate it right there with them. And then you know if it's within your budget. So Contractors Furnishings will order it, it comes to their warehouse, they'll cut it for the contractor in custom lengths so that they don't have to carry a massive rollout, which is impossible to do. They'll cut it to the lengths if the contractor wants them to. Then the contractors pick it up for you and install it in your house. It's like amazing. And so now we can do that for friends and family, neighbors, anybody you want to build a relationship with.
I love it. Good stuff. Okay, see you guys all there, 10 o'clock sharp, no Zoom, next Tuesday in place of this meeting. All right. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks.